And then from an Australian point of view, definitely targeting to bowl South Africa out. They've still got Zampa with 3, and generally what takes care of the back end batsman, quality leg spin and ultra fast.
I like the short extra cover. I think that's a good position for Coetzee. Maybe that Agar takes a little bit off the ball here. He bowled, we were watching him pre-play and he was bowling it flat and fast. It was fizzing through. 160 for 6. Well, a reminder that the toss was won by Mitchell Marsh on a very bare pitch, a dry-looking, slow pitch, and he put South Africa into bat. De Kock struggled, so too Van der Dussen, who was run out, an unfortunate mix-up. Markram actually played smoothly, but made a mistake. Heinrich Klassen got one that went pretty much straight along the ground. Miller undone by the angles. First up, and Marco Jansen made a really useful 32 just now. So it's a little summary of what's gone on. Here's Hazelwood again into his 8th over. And it's around about there, that pitching length, that the ball is kept very low on occasions.
Yeah, the Australian seamers, they've been asking all the right questions, utilising the surface to their advantage, being immaculate in the line in lengths. 2 for 20 for Hazelwood, 2 for 20 for Stoinis. They've really been the pick of the bowlers. They're very hastened in length, angles, bring the stumps into play.
And now Bavoon has found the gap, and actually it's a much quicker outfield than it looks. That green is a bit, well, it's not as lush as you might think it is. Good timing.
That's a phenomenal shot. He's hit 2 or 3 in that direction of tall, big bowlers on a slow wicket. He's waited for the ball beautifully there. Obviously been in there a bit, got the hang of. There again, you can see that little shimmy back just to set his body position. And then just transfers, uses those great hands of his.
Mac, were you playing when the bats went up a notch? Well, sort of from, I don't mean the bats of 30 years ago, but bats that were not quite as special as they are now. And in other words, the beginning and end of your career, were the bats different?
I had a sponsor for about 20 years in Gunnermoor, and they showed me my first bat. They showed me when I first started, so in the 90s, and then they showed me how I ended in terms of the bats. So a huge difference. They obviously call them performance bats. They don't press them as much. So my old bat had a good middle, but my new bat had middle plus a bit. So I don't think the difference is in the middle. I think it's around the sweet spot where it's a little bit more forgiving. A bit like your driver, Mark. Like when you first...
Forgiving.
I think when you first started, it used to be a small driver, little head, and now I think it's the one that you don't get. That's the difference in today's technology. It's the one that you just don't get out the middle. These performance bats, they still fly.
Barry Richards made a great point the other day to me that it's really, there's less risk in the shot. So say you're going over extra cover. The bats that he used, you had to nail it to clear the guy at extra cover, never mind the bloke on the boundary. Now you know with the bat you'll miss-hit it over him, and you might often on smaller grounds miss-hit it over the boundary fielder. So your mind's much clearer. You're not so concerned about the risk element of the shot. You're playing more freely, and that sure helps the execution of the shot, the lack of fear of failure. 165 for 6. been through this projected score quite a lot, and we keep saying, you know, if they could 6 and over, we were saying 6 and over gets them to 250, it now gets them to 230. Played. I feel Temba could do with more of that in his partnership. I know they're great mates and we've seen them play great innings together, but in his opening partnership with Quinton de Kock, I think he needs more of that. It's not Quinny's natural way to think of dropping it and going. Quinny's a boundary hitter.
Yeah, you certainly feel that at the top of the order, it's a trick they've missed to gain some momentum. Try and enforce it on a slow surface, couldn't pierce the field. Field placing from the Australians as well, being tight on it one, denying them that momentum. From Temba. Yeah, just the rotation of strike, especially in that first power play. As a bowler, I can tell you, you want to bowl against a particular batsman. And if you're settling in on line and length against the left-hander, it is so difficult to then change up against the right-hander. So rotation of strike in that power play were key, and it's perhaps an opportunity missed.
I mean, you look at Quinton de Kock, and he's had a great career thus far. You know, you miss out on one of the huge benefits that he's had in his game, is his rotation on that hip. Sort of even in his test match cricket, where he just sort of closes the face and gets his one behind square. So it's not that he's lost it. I think T20 format, you fight fire with fire. You know, if you don't get the run rate you're looking for, you basically look to the boundaries where there's different areas to go through in the ODI format. So if you're not getting your fluency, there's definitely different ways to get there.
Oh, well, that is the end of Gerald Coetzee. There you go. Again, Temba Bavuma will look and wonder. It's quite hard to play that shot against Ashton Agar because he gets bounced. He's a very tall man. He gets quite a lot on the ball. He's just getting it to hold out of the rough outside that leg stump. Not the easiest. Comfy catch for Josh Hazlewood. 40 gone, 7 wickets gone, 168 on the board. It's all Temba Bavuma dependent.
Yeah, for 2, 7. Yeah, perhaps just trying to go a touch too square. Gerald Coetzee. Estenega, tall man, perhaps extra bit of bounce. Leading heads and easiest of catches for Josh Hazlewood.
Well, Temba Bavuma is the lone ranger here, 73 from 111 balls, 7 boundaries in that innings, almost 3 hours at the wicket. Keshav Maharaj comes out now, and Temba would give a lot for Maharaj to bat for the next 10 overs. He has the strokes to accelerate if he gets in. Not an easy pitch to force the issue when you arrive. Could do with a bit of luck, you know, a few nicks that go your way. Set an example that the others have to find a way to follow in this final stanza of the innings. Can they survive being bowled out? Getting 230, say, for the bowlers to have something to work with. Let's find out as Sean Abbott now comes into Temba Bavuma.
We see Coetzee's dismissal again. He sees it going down the leg side, so you don't mind the shot. I think just a little bit too full on this surface to be trying to really bully it. through the shot quite quicker, a little bit slow, and a little top edge.
That's really well put. I think you've got to get low and get the bat parallel. When you're not sure of the amount of spin and bounce, you get the bat parallel and you almost sort of paddle it. I think the semi-slog sweep type sweep, if that makes any sense, is difficult in the first up unless you're seeing it really big. Did hold in the surface too, spun a little bit back towards the stumps from outside leg stump.
Mark, just going back to the big bats and you know the confidence that you've got of going over the top. I think it's a mindset. It's actually everything sort of changed in terms of it's the way the guys practice now. It's technique. Guys practice technique in terms of that transfer through the ball, setting up in a certain way. Coaches sort of give you that license. There's that ability in terms of definitely when I first started in the 90s, it was sort of give yourself a chance. Now the guys give themselves a chance by looking for a four. You know, you're looking for the boundary. The whole mindset is, okay, well, I'm looking to score, and if it's not there, I'll take the one. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, and you know, the way the guys train these days and their technical setup. You know, the old days used to be slightly lower backlifts. Now the guys, you see them standing, they're in that ready position. You know, make a good swing and make a good connection through the ball.
Well, the interesting and encouraging thing, perhaps, it is for other people, is that England have managed to apply that to Test cricket. It's that mindset, allied to that convincing ball striking through setup and technique, is pretty hard to bowl to in any format of the game. It's quite something, isn't it, against the Australian attack to score at 5 and over through a series. Oh, that'd be very handy. 4 freebies.
Yeah, fortunate runs for South Africa, but they'll take them whichever way they come. Guess of Maharaj selling the dummy. Good to see. Pardon me, Temba Bavuma. Little semi-leg side, he's trying to follow him. And then yeah, it's going all the way down the leg side. The keeper had absolutely no chance of stopping that.
Yeah, you've seen with Temba, subtle little sort of variations in his guard, just trying to put the bowler off, and on this occasion it works. That's where he wants him away from. Doesn't want him hitting that area. South Africa 175 for 7.
KSDO. Let's play. Intense, long-lasting 12-hour fragrance. KSDO. खुशबू ऐसी की बस खोजा.
Well, it's not a scorecard that reads easy. There's no sort of rhythm to it. It's been about one man and some support from Janssen, but other than that, nobody's really sort of knuckled down and said, right, I'll bat the time. And now, you know, that's something that you've really got to use these 5 games for, building up to the World Cup. A reminder of exactly what 50 overs is, what the rhythms are. How if you're struggling, you've got to use up balls. You've got to make sure that you give yourself the best chance. Ashton Agar again. I think Mitchell Marsh has been impressive, by the way. I thought that in the 320 games, and now in this 50 over game today. Very relaxed modern day captain, but I like the way he's moved his attack around. Never let anybody settle. He's found a bowler for the moment most of the time, and wickets have therefore fallen, and nothing is better to stop a run rate than that.
Yeah, I've been very impressed by Mitch Marsh, the way he's rotated his bowlers, but also understanding which bowler would have been effective at which stage of the game. It's been really impressive. Started in the 3 T20s and taken the momentum into this first ODI.
Oh, wow. That's the spin and bounce that we saw out of the middle when he was warming up, and we were impressed that that's gone through at a waist high past the keeper.
It's downhill to the zoo. Beaten Temba Bavuma on this occasion. Like he gets enough on it. And having played here for many, many years, you don't even have to chase that. That goes gradient towards the zoo.
Have you been in the zoo?
I have been there on a few occasions. Not sure it's there anymore, to be honest.
I hope not. Not a fan of a zoo.
I can confirm that zoo is no longer.
I only used to like playing here because I think it was the peacocks used to make a bit of a noise. Used to long boring day, normally flat wickets here. I used to amuse myself. Start trying to call back to the birds and get a reaction. You know you're not in good form if that's happening.
Very good.
Good.
182 for 7 now.
KSDO.
Let's play.
Intense, long-lasting 12-hour fragrance. KSDO. खुशबू ऐसी की बस खोजा.
Well, Australia are all powerful so far. 3 KFC T20s and now into the Betway ODI series, and going well here. Really suffocating the South African batting. Bowled in again, low bounce. That's extremely difficult to play. I've got enormous sympathy, but credit to the bowler who's hit exactly the spot. That's what happened to Heinrich Klaassen. It's happened now to Keshav Maharaj.
Speaking Mitch Marsh, he's marshaled his troops really well. There's variable bounce from that top end. He's moved his seamers through that side and bowled his spinners from the other end. Working a real treat. Keshav Maharaj getting a low skidder. Abbott hitting the surface really well and doing a great job for Australia. Keshav Maharaj has to go. South Africa 182 for 8.
KSDO.
Let's play.
Intense, long-lasting 12-hour fragrance. KSDO. खुशबू ऐसी की बस खोजा.
Keshav Maharaj. Off stump cartwheeling out the ground again. That's a sight all seam bowlers want to see.
KG Rabada arrives, and Temba Bavuma's desperately hoping he stays for a bit. Best of 31. There's more in, well, we've said it so often about him, but there's more in his batting than that, I think. 2019 World Cup match at Southampton between India and South Africa was the occasion of that score. It's a switch from Sean Abbott to bowl round the wicket now. Rabada. He's a good hustler, Sean Abbott. You feel that he runs in with a lot of optimism that he can make a difference. I've talked a lot about his changes of pace and variations. But this is good old-fashioned hit the pitch where it can hurt people.
Yeah, he's certainly skinny. Look at Temba Bavuma. Yeah, I feel it for you, partner, on the other side.
Waiting for a headache tablet that side. Who's going to bat with him?
Well, the great thing is there's something there for South Africa to work with. You know, Temba's proved it's not unbattable on, but there's something that there's this uneven bounce. You just got to bowl straight. You can't bowl easy balls to score from. This has to be a highly disciplined performance. Be in the fight all the way through. Edge yourself past 200 now, and then bowl out of your boots.
Yeah, such a good point you make there, Mark. Sitting, watching the Australians operating with ball in hand, there's a lot to be learned. And like you said, there is a lot on offer on this particular surface, especially the end that Abbott is operating from. If you can bring those stumps into play on a good length, with good heat, good intensity, you need wickets in that power play. You feel that's going to be key with that first new ball for South Africa. But they'll have to get themselves in the region of 220 here with bat.
Field change now. Little wicket goes out to the boundary. Try and get Rabada out, yes, but if they don't, they want him to take a one so they can bowl to him the next over.
It's good captaincy too, getting the third man in the right place. Very fine. It's just a little thing, but it's a detail that matters. 185 for 8.
KSDO.
Let's play.
Intense, long-lasting 12-hour fragrance. KSDO. खुशबू ऐसी की बस खो जाओ.